Have you ever felt like you were thrown into a lion's den? Maybe not a literal one with actual lions, but a situation that felt just as terrifying and hopeless. Today, we read diving into one of the most dramatic stories ever told. Daniel in the lion's den. And trust me, the lessons from this ancient tale are more relevant to our lives today than you might think. So let's set the scene. We're in Babylon, and Daniel is a top official, a man known for his wisdom and integrity. He's so good at his job that King Darius plans to put him in charge of the entire kingdom. But with great success often comes great jealousy. They watch Daniel like hawks, trying to find some dirt on him, some mistake, some scandal they could use to bring him down. But they found nothing. Daniel was blameless. Frustrated, they realized the only way to trap him was to use his faith against him. They knew Daniel was devoutly committed to his God. So they hatched a wicked plan. They went to King Darius and flattered him, suggesting he sign a new law. This law would forbid anyone from praying to any god or man except the king for 30 days. Anyone who disobeyed would be thrown into the den of lions. The king, caught up in his own ego, signed the decree without a second thought. Now, what do you think Daniel did when he heard about this new law? Did he hide? Did he start praying in secret? No, Daniel went home, opened his windows that faced toward Jerusalem, and knelt down to pray. Just as he had always done, 3 times a day. He didn't waver. He didn't compromise his faith to save his own skin. He chose obedience to God over obedience to an unjust human law. Of course, his enemies were watching. They exclaimed, King Darius was devastated. He had been tricked. He genuinely liked and respected Daniel, and he spent the whole day trying to find a loophole, a way to save him. But the law was irreversible. With a heavy heart, he gave the order. As they took Daniel away, the king said something remarkable. He told Daniel, "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." Think about that. Even a pagan king recognized the power of Daniel's unwavering faith. So Daniel was thrown into the lion's den. A large stone was rolled over the entrance, and the king sealed it with his own ring. The king spent a sleepless night, fasting and worrying. At the first light of dawn, he rushed to the den. He called out in an anguished voice, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from the lions?" And then, a voice from the darkness. It was Daniel. "O king, live forever. My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions." Can you imagine the relief and joy that flooded the king? He ordered Daniel to be lifted out, and there wasn't a single scratch on him. The miracle was undeniable, but the story doesn't end there. The king then commanded that the men who had falsely accused Daniel, along with their families, be thrown into the same lion's den. And before they even reached the floor of the den, the lions overpowered them. So what are the takeaways for us? First, the power of integrity. Daniel's enemies couldn't find any fault in him except for his faith. Living a life of character is our first line of defense. Second, unwavering faith. When faced with an impossible choice, Daniel didn't hesitate. He trusted God completely, even when it looked like the end. Sometimes our faith will be tested, and we'll have to choose between what's easy and what's right. Daniel's story teaches us to stand firm. And finally, divine protection. God didn't prevent Daniel from being thrown into the den, but he was with him in the den. Sometimes God doesn't remove the trial. He walks with us through it and delivers us. Stand firm in your integrity, hold on to your faith, and trust that God is with you, ready to shut the mouths of the lions. Thanks for watching. If this story inspired you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that explores these powerful truths. See you next time.